to another episode of New to Me. I'm Stephen Michael Zach, and today we're talking about the great video maker panel, the GVM QX50RS. This is a bicolor and RGB panel that you can actually link to other panels. It has the master slave function. It is awesome. Let's go ahead and jump in and take a look at what is on the actual unit itself. Okay, so let's open this up and take a look what is inside. First off, their cases are pretty darn good. They're somewhat soft, somewhat hard. They're medium hard cases, I guess you can call them. They do offer a lot of support, so you can stack these and you're not gonna crush what's inside. They have this great rubberized handle, which is really nice to when you grab it. And let's go ahead and open this up and take a look under the hood. Here we go. So first off, when you open this up, you get this beautiful vinyl recording. This is GVM, great video maker, the greatest hits. This is one of the best vinyls I've ever heard. No, I'm just kidding. This is the secondary diffusion, which we will show you how this works later on in the video. But it is pretty cool that they include two forms of diffusion, so you can really diffuse the light and you don't have to hang it anywhere. You don't have to use diffusion curtain or diffusion paper. Then of course you get your directions, which we'll never look at. And then inside the box, this comes with everything you need. First off, you have barn doors included, and that is super awesome to have barn doors. You get your barn doors, you get 4 of these thumb screws. I'm not crazy about the thumb screws. I really wish they would just do away with these because they are very difficult to deal with. You get your safety cable, and of course you get this great barn door. It is made of quality material. Just on the barn doors, the one thing I don't like is, again, like the 520 panel I have in my studio, it has these little tabby things that flop around, and it makes it very hard to attach to the light. So you've really got to kind of either twist up the light or just kind of finagle and try to get these on. I really wish they would make this where it would just clamp on and that's it. Really difficult to get the barn doors on and off. So there you have it. Those are the barn doors. And then inside the box, you get your power brick and power cable. I'll probably power this thing by battery. And the batteries actually last about, if you do the big Sony NPF batteries, they last about 6 hours. If you're at 4400 Kelvin, which is both of the lights on both of the sections of beads on at the same time at full power, you'll get about 4 hours of battery life out of that. But before we look at the unit, I want to show you this little bracket thing under here. These are the brackets for the secondary diffusion. And there's some good things and some bad things about them. Let's just quickly take a look. First off, I love the fact that they have these little springy screws that you kind of screw in here. That is super cool. Makes it super easy to just slide this on the top and bottom, push this into the hole and screw it in. I wish they had done the same for the diffusion panel, because on the front, to actually attach the panel, you get the bad thumb screws again. Really wish they would do away with these and do the same thing here as they did on the front, to just put something on the diffusion that would work in kind of the same manner. But I'll show you what this looks like later with everything attached. And finally, we have the light itself, which I really love. Here it is, the GVM. This is it. And let's take a look at this thing. First off, this is much heavier than any other panel, and that's because there are so many things in here. This has so much, there's so many different features on this thing, and that's why it's heavy, very robust. It does have the slide in and out diffusion, so you can have diffusion and put barn doors on this thing. Obviously, GVM is listening to their customers and reviewers like me, and they gave us diffusion and barn doors at the same time, so awesome job there. And then you get just one knob here to adjust this, but I really love this knob. Take a look at this knob. It's like contoured to your fingers, so when you're turning it, it's very comfortable. Very comfortable touch. They also did one down here, the same, and it is just really, really nice. Of course, let's go ahead and take a look. You can see that there are double beads here, and that is the 92 bicolor beads and the 92 RGB beads, which is total of 384 beads. Really super awesome. There is no glass protecting this, but that's okay. I usually just keep the diffusion in. I don't think there's a time when I ever want to just use this as a without any kind of diffusion on it. The yoke is made of solid metal. The unit is the heatsink design, and it is super solid. It does have a plastic top, and it does have, of course, the plastic control box here, but this plastic feels a lot stronger than the others on their other panels. Of course, it has all the controls, which you just saw in the schematics, and the LCD screen, which I will show you in a bit. Let's go ahead and put on the diffusion. Let's go take a look at this with the barn doors on it, and we'll do a brightness test. I'll show you the LCD and all the features on the screen that are in this thing. Okay, so here's how to attach the secondary diffusion. Again, you do have this diffusion. It does have these little pop-in knobs to hold it in place, and I would go ahead and activate those. The best way to put this on is to put the brackets on the diffusion piece first. That way you can just kind of slide this on, line it up in the holes, and see how easy that you push this down with the spring-loaded bits here, and it goes right in. Very, very, very fast, very quick to put this in. Very cool. I do like this design. The only drawback, and there are two, are the fact that one, you are going to get light bleed from here and from the top and bottom out the sides here. So you want to use some black wrap or use a flag to kind of block that off. Also, when you do that, your inner diffusion is locked in. There is no way to get it out, but it is very easy to just kind of unscrew this, pull it out, and then pop it back in. And that's because of the terrific, these little spring-loaded screws at the top. I wish, again, they would have done the same with the front and done away with these little thumb screws, which I really don't like, and they're very time-consuming and very annoying to deal with. So let's go ahead and take a look at the barn doors. Okay, so here it is with the barn doors on it, and first off, I do want to say I really dislike this design. Not only is it very difficult to get this on because the tabs are always flapping around, but some of the tabs actually stick. This thing actually got a little bit bent out of shape because I was trying to get this on. This doesn't always go on straight. Sometimes one side will be lower than the other, and you have to keep loosening things and kind of fiddling with it. And when you're running and gunning and you're on a time crunch, this is the thing that can stop you the most, are these barn doors. So I wish they just clamped right on. I wish they didn't use these thumb screws at all. They're horrible. But when you do get this thing on and straight and it looks good, these are some of the best darn barn doors I've ever seen made. They are just super flexible. They work beautifully. Wonderful material. The design, with the exception of the thumb screws, is awesome. And of course you have they gave us diffusion, which is always a plus. You can slide the diffusion in and out, and the barn doors do not interfere. There is a little bit of light leakage on these, I'm noticing, but not so much as when you use double diffusion. This thing really is great, and if you need double diffusion, now you can just clamp on a piece of diffusion paper right on the front. That's what I suggest over the secondary diffusion, because again, you get less bleed from the top and bottom of light coming out of the big giant gaping hole, and you can really control the light with this. So I would probably just leave the barn doors on when you pack this up and use diffusion paper as a secondary diffusion. But that's it. That is the GVM with the barn doors on it. Okay, so here we are, the white wall test, and as you can see, that bright glowy thing in the center, that is the beautiful LCD. It is brilliant. Now, I've switched my camera back to 5600 Kelvin, usually shoot in 3000 Kelvin in order to let my gelled quasar really pump out the blue in the background. But here we are at 50%. The light is about 5 feet from the wall, and it is doubly diffused. And as you can see, this is brilliant. Let's go ahead and go to 100%, and 100% super bright, even doubly diffused. And let's go all the way down to 5%. And here we are at 5%. Super bright. It does look on my camera like at 5%, it is giving off a slightly magenta glow. I will check that, and I'll probably put some text if it is, or whether it's just the fact that it's just my room. But here we're at 5%, and let's go ahead and shut this off. And you see that glowy thing? That is the beautiful LCD screen. You can totally read this in the dark. It is awesome. Let's go back up to 100%, and let's go down to 4400 Kelvin. And as you can see, this thing, again, does not disappoint. Super bright. There's your 50%. There is your 5%. This thing is fantastic. Let's go all the way down to 2000 Kelvin. There we go. And 5%. Let's go to 50% there. And there is your 100%. This thing, even doubly diffused, is brilliant. Let's go ahead and take off the diffusion here. Actually, let's show you the RGB with the double diffusion, and then I'll run through the rest of them. So let's go ahead and hit this button here, the far button here, and you go boom right into your RGB, and it even doubly diffused. This thing is absolutely beautiful. 100%, you can just dial through and change your hue here, which is super awesome. I love this. Let's go ahead and hit the dial one more time to the right, and that gets you into the saturation. You can go 100% saturation, double click, and you're back in hue, and you can just really dial in the color that you need. And let's say this is too red, well, hit the button, go into saturation, and you can change the saturation. You can lower it, and you can really match any color, really match most gels. This is very, very cool. I'm digging this a lot. So let's go ahead back into 5600 Kelvin 100%, and let's go ahead and take off the secondary diffusion. And again, I love these. You could just twist these and they come right off, and they're spring loaded. And see how easy this is to just pop off. And here we are. This is 100%. We're at 5500 Kelvin. Here is 5600 Kelvin. There is a small light discrepancy between 56 and 55. 55 seems a little bit brighter. There is kind of a big jump here when I change it, which is very odd. But I guess it looks fine. But there's your 56, and we'll go with one piece of diffusion inside the lamp down to 200, and there is your 50%, and here is your 5% right there. Let's go all the way back up to, let's go try 4400 Kelvin. There is your 44 at 5%, and your 50, and your 100. This thing, as you can see, is super duper bright. Going all the way back up to 56, and we'll lower that to 50, and going to 5. As you see, this thing is massively bright. Now, let's take out the final diffusion here, and this thing is white hot, even at 5%. Super, super cool. Let's go up, that's off. Let's go up to 50% with no diffusion. There's your 50%, no diffusion, and there is your 100%. It is actually, I can actually see zebra stripes because it actually is peaking on my camera. let's go to 4400. 4400, that's 100%, and there's even more peaking on my camera, which is which shows that this thing is super bright. Let's go to 50% here, and let's go to 5%. And as you can see, with no diffusion, this thing is super bright. Let's go to brightness back to 100, and let's check out our RGB here. First with the diffusion in, so we'll just pop the first layer of diffusion right here. And click on the RGB. Let's go to make sure this is on 100% saturation and click that. And there we go. This is with the diffusion in, and as you can see, it works beautifully. And you can, of course, and then pulling the diffusion out and turning this to, let's leave it here, and let's go into saturation, turning this to 100% saturation right here. And now I did notice that this does not do 100% saturation. It almost looks like it does not do 100% brightness, I think. Oh no, there's 100% brightness. Okay, we're good. Just forget that last part. As you can see, we are at 100% saturation. Double click and you get back to the hue, and you can just cycle through all the beautiful colors. Now let's go back to the red, because the red is pretty strong. Actually, let's go to blue. There's your blue right there. Let's see, where's the blue? So your blue is around 260-ish to around 250. I think it's like 240. Yeah, 240 is blue. This is without diffusion. And of course, you can go in and change your saturation to lighten it up. So this light is pretty darn boss. I really love it. It is super bright. You do get 2 levels of diffusion. And we did do a battery test. The battery does last about, with the 2 largest Sony NPF batteries that you can buy, it does last about 6 hours, either daylight or tungsten. If you're shooting at 4400 Kelvin, and that's with both bulbs on at full blast, you're only getting it about 4 hours of battery life. And I haven't tested it, but I think the RGB will probably be about the same. You'll probably maybe get about between 4 and 6 hours. But I love this panel. The LCD screen is brilliant. The RGB is fantastic. And let's just take a look at the master-slave mode. Now, I can't demo this because I only have one of these, but as you can see, you press the button and you get the readout, and you can wirelessly connect these. And now, the only problem with this is it is a 1-and-1, which means if whatever I turn the master to, all the others will change. They are all connected. Now, what is this for? This is if you are in a studio and when you turn off the main light, you want all the other lights to go off. You could also use these as, set 2 of these up and use them kind of as a television flickering effect. You could use them as lighting outside the house in different rooms, or if you just need the power to go out in the room, you can just control it with 1 panel and all the power will go out. Those are the things you can use this for. Now, I do wish that they made some kind of app or had some sort of solid remote control, even if I had to buy the remote control, where I can not only control these together, but control these individually. That would be super awesome, and I wish they would make something like that. Now, there is a code on their website to go and kind of scan the barcode, and it's supposed to lead you to an app for Android, but when I did it, it either took a picture of the screen on my phone or sent me to like AliExpress or some other website that was not the download for the app. So I wish they would either put it in the App Store or the Google Play Store and be done with it, and not have to go to their website and scan something and download, because it's not there yet. It wasn't working, unfortunately. But that's it. You also have your selection here, so you can select which one you want to be the master here, and you can connect them all pretty well. And yeah, there we go. And I do believe, and when you press this the first time, this is the slave, so you can assign your slave, and you can select with the arrows which one you want to be the slave, and then you press it again and you can decide which one you want to be the master, which is 0. And it looks like you can have up to 11 of these synced, which is super amazingly awesome, especially if you're in a studio and you need all the lights to be connected. So that's it. And let's go back for my final thoughts. So that's it. Let's go ahead and take a look at the, so that's it. That is the brightness test. So that's it. That is my brightness test. And it is absolutely a beautiful light. Okay, so here are my final thoughts about the QX50RS. This is a boss of a studio light. If you have a home studio or you're filming a movie, this sucker is great. Again, I have to say I'm becoming a fanboy of these panels. I've used these in a wooden barn in 110-degree weather on battery power, and they have not failed me. They are super workhorses, super sturdy. If you buy something like this, you will not be disappointed. And for $269, for $270, under $300, you get everything included. You don't get batteries, but of course, hopefully you have those kind of batteries, and they are fairly cheap to buy online. But it comes with everything. It's a great design. A couple of the cons, I wish that one, the barn doors just clicked on and they did away with these stupid thumb screws. So I wish that were gone. I also wish that with the master-slave control, it is wireless, but I really wish that it wasn't one-to-one, which basically means if you turn the master down, all the other lights are going to turn down the exact same. I wish they would make a remote control or a phone app where you can just control these individually. That would be super awesome. I know there is a kind of like a code to kind of scan with your phone on their website to download an app, but when I try that, it either takes a picture of the app or it sends me to an AliExpress page. So I don't think the app is actually on their website yet. But hopefully they'll just put an app in like the App Store or on the Google Play Store, which would be so much simpler than having to go and scan their website and download something on your phone. But again, this is super awesome. The saturation, the hue color, the RGB function alone is super awesome. It is super bright, and it is an absolute, I would say an absolute must to have in your kit if you can afford it. I really love this thing. It is fantastic. And again, it's another great product from GVM. Okay, I'm gonna stop gushing now because I'm sounding like a gushing fanboy. And questions, comments, I wanna hear them, what you think. So that's it for me. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And don't forget to hit the bell button to be notified when we post brand new videos. I'm Stephen Michael Zach, and this is new to me.